Hi, welcome back to Unit 9A, Day 2. We're measuring angles and arcs. We already looked at a little bit of vocabulary. We looked at our central angle, the angle at the center, and we looked at the arc that gets intercepted by that central angle. We looked at classifying arcs as minor arcs, which will be less than 180, semicircles, which will be exactly 180, and major arcs, which will be greater than 180, and we talked about how to name them. Minor arcs can be named with just 2 endpoints of the arc. A major arc is named with the 2 endpoints and a point from the arc in between them. And same with the semicircle, the 2 endpoints and a point that is on the semicircle, so you know which side of the circle to go on. And then when you do that, you'll always use capital letters and you'll use a little arc symbol drawn over them. Okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is the arc addition postulate. So far this year, as far as postulates with addition goes, we've done segment addition. 2 segments can be added together to make a longer whole segment. And we've done angle addition. 2 angles can be added together to make one larger angle. Well, we can do the same exact thing with arc addition. So when we look at 2 arcs, we can add 2 arcs together to make a longer third arc. Okay? So for example, when I look at my example problem here, it says the measure of arc CF. Well, let's see where arc CF is. So arc CF is right here. Okay, arc CF, use a little highlighter there. And arc FG, that's this one here. Okay, what is that going to make? It's going to make the whole arc from C all the way around to G. So the measure of arc CG. The blue arc plus the orange arc makes the green arc. Notice we only use 2 letters to name the green arc because it's less than half the circle. It's a minor arc. Okay? If that arc were to end up being a major arc, or if it was a semicircle, instead of using just 2 letters, we would have to make sure that we used 3 letters. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so for example, it says the measure of arc HG, so let's see where that is. Arc HG is this arc right here, HG, plus the measure of arc CH. So the measure of arc CH, that is this arc up here, that is CH. It's going to equal, let's see, the whole arc, right? It's going to equal all of this arc that I'm highlighting out here, that I'm going to highlight in green. So now, how do I name that? I know I'm going to use a little m for measure of. If we knew how many degrees the angles were, we could figure out the measures. All right, so to name that one, notice that one's more than half the circle. If I were to extend this to a diameter, we can see we're going past the semicircle, right? This is a major arc. So I have to use 3 letters. My outside letters have to be the endpoints. My endpoints are C and G. So I can start with C and G, or I can do G and then C. And then I need to pick a point that's somewhere on the arc, and the only point I have to choose from is just point H. So H goes in the center. So the orange arc plus the blue arc in this case make the measure of arc CHG. I need to make sure I put a little arc symbol right above it. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. It says segment AC is a diameter of circle R. So this AC is a diameter. Find the measure of arc AB and the measure of arc ACB. And notice I've already done it for you. I'm just going to walk through the example of how we got this. Okay? All right, so if AC is a diameter of circle R, and I want to find the measure of arc AB, so arc AB is here, I know it's going to match the central angle. So that's how I knew it was 42, because it matches the central angle. We talked about that at the beginning of the notes in the first video. Your arc and your central angle have the same measure. Okay, So if this central angle is 42, then arc AB is also 42. Okay? Then it says to find the measure of arc ACB. Okay, so ACB means I'm going to start at A and I'm going to end at B, but I have to go through C at some point. So notice it's the outside arc all the way around the back side. Notice what they did. They didn't add anything together. They actually subtracted. They said, well, 360 minus the 42, because I already know this little piece here is 42. Right? I want everything out of that circle except for that 42. So that's why we were subtracting 360, the whole circle, minus the 42 is how I get my 318. Okay? Notice in small print it says you could also find this arc by subtracting 42 from 180 and add it to the semicircle. So I could say, all right, I know this arc here. I can subtract 180. The 42 minus 180 and figure out how long this arc here is, and then add that to the 180 on the other side. So there's more than one way to do it. They are both correct. Okay? All right, here are two more example problems. If you want, this would be a great place to pause the video, try these two problems, try to figure out how long or what is the measure of this arc and what is the measure of this arc, and then once you have your answers, replay or press play and see if you get the same answers that I get. Okay? All right, so if you pause and you come back, let's check and see if you got the same answers that I'm about to get. Okay? All right, so find the measure of the marked arc in the circle below. So I'm going to be finding this right here, and I can see it's just this one piece of the circle, and I know all the other pieces. All together, I know they're going to make 360 degrees. So this one's 115. This one's 60, this one's 105, and if I put that together with this one, it's going to make 360. So I'm going to add the three that I know together. (280 degrees), if I did my math right. I should probably do that in a calculator just to check, since these are notes. I want to make sure I have the right answers for you. Yes, 280. And then that's going to be all of this part. So what's left for this, I'm going to take 360 and subtract the 280. 360 minus 280 is 80. So that measure is 80 degrees. Okay? All right, let's look at this next one. On the next one, it's the same process, right? I've got 90 degrees, 120 degrees, and then whatever this one is. But I know all three of these together make the whole circle, which I know is 360. So I'm going to take the two that I know, and I'm going to add them together. 120 plus 90, which is 210. So then I'm going to take that away from my whole circle, which is 360. 360 minus 210 is 150 degrees. So this arc is 150 degrees. This arc is 80 degrees. They are both minor arcs. Okay? All right, the last thing we're going to do is we are going to, it says BD and AC are diameters of circle O. We're going to identify each arc as a major arc, minor arc, or semicircle of the circle. Then we're going to find its measure. Okay, the first one has already been done for me. BA, so BA, just this little piece right here, we can see that's a minor arc, and we know its measure is the same as the central angle, 44. Okay, now what's kind of neat, that we didn't really talk about, but kind of neat, is we still use all the properties that we've already learned. So I know if this angle here is 44 degrees, that means this angle here is 44 degrees. So that means this is 44 degrees and this is 44 degrees, because your arcs match your central angles. Okay? And I know on one side of a line, I have 180 degrees. So if I've used 44 here, I can figure out what this is by doing 180 minus 44, and that will give me this degree. So 180 minus 44 is, I believe, 136. Yes, it is. So I've got 136 degrees here, which means this arc is 136 degrees. And this angle is 136 degrees, which means this arc out here is 136 degrees. Okay? All right, so let's look at this next one. We've already looked at this first one, the example one. A great thing to do would be to pause the video if you're following along and try these two, and then resume the video and see if you get the same answers that I get. Okay, so hopefully you already figured out what your answers are, and now we're resuming the video and we're going to look at BC. So BC, if I start at B and I go the shortest distance to C. When you have two letters, you always go the shortest distance. Anytime you have two letters, you always go the shortest distance. Two letters, short distance. I can't say it too many times, okay? So I know that the measure of that arc is 136 degrees, which seems really big, but if I look at half the circle, it's less than half that circle, right? So this is a minor arc, and the measure is 136 degrees. Okay? The next one, BCD, is well, I see three letters, so it's probably not minor. It's probably either a major or a semicircle. You can name a minor arc with three letters. It just doesn't happen that often. But let's go see, where is BCD? That means I am going to start at B. I'm going to end at D. And I'm going to go through C. So that means I'm going around the left side. Okay, so I can see that that is going to be a semicircle. It's half the circle, which means its measure, the 136 and the 44 together, its measure is 180 degrees. Okay, all right, hopefully, I know these two videos were a little bit long, but we managed to get all the notes in just the two videos. So hopefully you have a good understanding of central angles and their measures and how that corresponds with the intercepted arcs, and how to classify those as major arcs, minor arcs, and semicircles. If you have any questions, please make sure you're speaking up during sync time, or if not during sync time, after sync time during tutoring. Thank you so much for watching.